you guys are looking for a way to work some of those new cells you've been getting from Gauntlet into your build, I've got a great Chainblade build. This one is designed for both group and solo play and works really well in the Gauntlet. So the weapon we're using for this build is the Weeping Hours. With that, we are going to have Reduce +3 and Sharpen +3. This is for the solo version. If you're doing this in group play with somebody that's running +6 Reduce, you'll actually want to switch that Sharpen cell to another +3 Reduce cell to maximize that and take full advantage of somebody running +6 Reduce. For the equipment, we're going to be using Reaper's Dance. For the mod, you'll want to be using lightweight chains. We're going to bond this to Fangs of Dawn, the Rezakiri weapon. For the Omni Cell, we're going to be using the Tempest Omni Cell. This is mostly for the passive 10% attack speed to help you overcome Reduce. For the Lantern, we're using Shrek Zil with a +3 Catalyst cell in it. For the helmet, we're using Thunder Deep's Capacitor with a +3 Cunning cell in it. For the chest, we're using Mantle of Thorns with a +3 Catalyst cell in it. This is getting us to the +6 Catalyst that we need to overcome the slowdown on this build. For the hands, we're using Malkirion's Grasp with a +3 Pulse cell. And for the boots, we're using Bladed Boots with a +3 Pulse cell. For the tonics, we're going to be using Blitz Tonic, Frenzy Tonic, and Ether Drive Tonic. So for our perk breakdown, we're going to have +6 Catalyst. This is giving us 60% tonic effectiveness and 60% tonic duration. Cunning +6, which is giving us a 10% critical strike chance and 30% critical strike damage. Predator +6, after not taking damage for 15 seconds, still 35% increased damage. Bonus lost if you get hit. You're not going to get hit a lot with this build is the idea. You're not going to be using a lot of stamina spending on this build, so you'll have plenty of room to dodge, and the behemoth should be locked down most of the fight. +6 Pulse, every 5th hit of your weapon is a critical strike with +15% critical strike damage. When this build gets rolling, you will be attacking very quickly, so getting that every 5th hit as a crit with that +6 Cunning is going to give you a lot of damage. +6 Sharpen. Now we're using this for 2 reasons. One, the 30% part damage plus the extra damage after dodging. This is going to help with those Tempest hits, though the main damage source of this build is not from Tempest. This is a melee build and it's designed to be melee heavy with this build. The main thing is that extra part damage because you're going to need that to trigger the next perk to keep your speed up with this build. Here's the odd cell that's coming off the boots, and that is intentional. Each time you break apart or assist in breaking apart, gain 15% attack speed for 20 seconds. This is Assassin's Frenzy. You might not see this cell in a lot of builds, but this thing is amazing if you're running Reduce. And like I said, there's 3 different versions of this build we're going to go over. One version of the build is +3 Reduce, which damage is increased by 20%, but your attack speed is reduced by 15%. Another version of the build will have +6 on Reduce, which increases your damage by 50% and reducing your attack speed by 30%. This cell we didn't think was going to be very good out of the 3 new cells that came out with Gauntlet Season 2, but honestly, this one has been pretty easy to overcome with Reduce. If you're in a party setting with somebody using +6 Reuse, running +6 Reduce is actually not a bad idea at all. We thought it was going to be much worse than that. And if you don't feel like running the +6 Reduce and having yourself handicapped because a part's not breaking, you can always run the +3 and overcome that very easily with Reuse and your other abilities to overcome it. So there's 3 ways of playing this, 2 party ways and 1 solo way. Now the primary party way is if nobody's using Reuse, you switch the +6 Catalyst out for +6 Reuse, but you keep Reduce at 3. The second way is if there is already somebody in the party running +6 Reuse, you switch out one of the Sharpen cells for another +6 Reduce cell. This is going to slow you down a lot, but as long as you guys stagger the part breaks with that +6 Catalyst, you should be perfectly fine. Now you're going to feel it when a part hasn't broken in the last 30 seconds, but as long as the parts are breaking about every 30 seconds, you will definitely be benefiting a lot from having that Reduce +6. And then the third way is the solo way. I personally run this way with +3 Reduce and +6 Catalyst. Now, if you don't want to be drinking a lot of tonics, you can switch that out for Reuse. That will give you a burst of speed every time a part breaks, plus it will give you a burst of speed from the Assassin's Frenzy when a part breaks. So you will be overcoming all the speed reduction from the +3 Reduce and then some whenever a part breaks. I personally prefer the Catalyst method with this because it's more reliable than the part break method. If you're confident in your ability to stagger those part breaks though, Reuse is definitely a way to go, and it's less rearranging parts if you're also the person in the party that's providing the +6 Reuse when you're playing with your group. but you still want to use the build for solo. If you're using this build in like a pickup group in escalation or doing random escalations without doing a private hunt, I would probably run it with the +6 reuse because I just don't see the point in having to drink tonics to run an escalation. And here's some gameplay footage of me soloing the 61 Gauntlet run with this build in the +6 Catalyst +3 reduce scenario. You should be able to see some clips where I'm moving very slowly. That is when my tonics wore off and I didn't want to re-up the tonics while recording this footage. So I only popped one set of tonics for every behemoth. If you down the behemoth fast enough, you could get away with one tonic per behemoth. Some of the behemoths you'll have to pop a second tonic to keep your speed up the whole time, or you can just take the last bit of the behemoth a little bit slower. That's why I definitely recommend with this build, you will want to slow down the part breaks. I would focus on the head. You get a lot of stagger damage with all that speed and the extra damage from reduce. So that is always an option. Just take it slow, focus on the head, and just go in for the part breaks every 30 seconds. The part should take you about 10 to 15 seconds to break. So spend 15 seconds on the head and then switch off and spend 15 seconds on a part that you need to break. I will leave a link to this build in the video description if you guys want to check it out. Let me know what you guys think of the build if you guys do try out the build. If you guys are looking to participate in Gauntlet and you're looking for a guild, I will also have the link for my social medias in the video description. That includes a link to Discord. You can join our Discord and somebody will add you to the guild when we're online. We'd love to have you guys and see you in the next video.